If you
Okay, so this is a disclaimer video for the story time that I'm going to do about the time that I was raped by a Birmingham police officer, and what happened. If this story triggers you in any way, I do advise you to stop listening, or to listen with someone who you can trust, that can calm you down. As a person with PTSD, I understand that. So this is a trigger warning. And if you want to watch the story, just stay tuned and watch the next clip. Okay, so this is part 1 of how I got raped by a Birmingham police officer. So I was trying to get help that day from 911 from a previous incident that happened in my building that day. So I was walking to campus to get help since no other police officers were helping me. So as I'm walking to campus, a police officer pulls beside me and says, "Hey, I heard about you. What's going on?" And I told him what was going on, and he asked me where I was headed. And I told him I was headed to campus to go get help, because I have mentors on campus that I knew that would help me. So he said that he could take me to campus. So we went to that person's office. They were working from home that day, and I wanted to go to my executive office to go talk to her and get help from her, because I knew she would help me. So instead he was like, "I just want to go to your apartment to see how everything looks." And I was like, "Why do you want to go to my apartment?" Because it didn't happen in my apartment, it happened in my apartment building. But why do you want to go to my apartment? So he kept saying, "I just want to go out to see how it looks." So around this time, I'm already hallucinating. We go to my apartment. I'm talking to him. I'm telling him my story. I had a studio apartment near campus. So he's sitting on my bed. I'm sitting in my beanbag chair. I'm telling him my story, and he throws off his body cam and into me telling my story. I'm already hallucinating. And at this point, he could tell that I had detached from myself. And he was like, he threw off his body cam. Then he asked me, he said, "Jamaria, I need you to do something for me." And I was like, okay. So I'm thinking he's talking about paperwork, or going downstairs to talk to the girls in the building about what happened. But instead he pulls down his pants and rape me, and make me do things that no woman should ever go through. So after that, he leaves. 10 minutes after that, 2 officers come and arrest me for disorderly conduct. I go to jail for like 10 days. 10 days I was in a psychosis, so I didn't even know my name, and all that happened. This same officer was able to get into my apartment, get the keys to my apartment, bring my medicine to the jail, and he was the same officer who picked me up from jail. He was supposed to take me to the VA. Instead of taking me to the VA, he took me home and he raped me, then took me to the VA. Stay tuned for part 2. So I'm at the VA because I'm a veteran. He made sure he stayed there with me while they were like triaging me or whatever, just to make sure that I didn't say anything. But at that time, I didn't even know what my name was. I was mixing up family members and everything that I knew to be true. Wasn't in my right state of mind. Because I have a disorder resulting from that situation that caused me to go manic, to cause me to go into psychosis because of what he did. So I wasn't even here mentally. So went to the VA. They petitioned me to go to Hillcrest, which is also a place where they treat veterans. And I went there, and they told me the only way that I could go home was if that same officer came and testified that the story with the person in the building was true. So at that time, like, I felt like that was my only way of getting home. And if I said anything, that he was going to paint me out to be, crazy, and say, anything different towards my story. So he came and testified that everything happened with the man in the building. I'm going home. The day that I'm going home, my therapist says, "Oh yeah, and by the way, officer What can I call him?
Officer Rapist.
Officer Rapist says he was gonna pick me up. So he comes to pick me up. And it's just like, I can't get away from this person, like, no matter what I do. Like, and after that happened, like, he would just pop up in my apartment and, you know, harass me, and it was just a lot going on. So that lasted all the way from July till September. And even my VA peer supporter, she even told me that, you know, this person was going to extreme lengths. Even when I was in the hospital, he was calling, asking her, you know, what's going on with her, where is she, just to make sure I wasn't saying anything. So I finally reported it, and they found him guilty of everything. The chief of police found him guilty. They had body cam footage, they had camera footage. They had witness statements. This officer is married. His wife's name is close to, can I say what it's close to? Elsa. So if you're hit, I mean, if that's you, you would know. But the next video is what they did to punish him and what's going on now. So this officer was found guilty within the internal affairs investigation. The chief of police found him guilty. They had all the camera footage, the body cam footage, the witness statements, and I did started with the criminal detectives. I circled him or whatever in the lineup, talked to them. They had all the evidence for me. And they said it will take a while for him to, you know, get in trouble criminally. But I called the DA's office and they said that it's not on their desk, like it's not with them. So what are they doing? I think they're trying to cover it up, because I found out recently, which none of his friends are supposed to contact me or anybody that he knows, but another police officer called himself, throwing it up in my face that nothing was done to him. He told me, I just want to tell you what goes on in our investigations. He was able to resign so he could have some dignity. And he joined the National Guard, and I think he's going to do good in the National Guard. And as a veteran, that's a spit in my face, because I watched over SARC offenders, and I know exactly how SARC offenders work. Just because you joined the military, that doesn't mean that you're going to stop, you know, sexually assaulting someone. That puts our service members at risk and other people at risk. Because if you couldn't protect and serve your community, you can't protect and serve your country. And Birmingham Police Department has a lot of dirty cops, because it's 10 cops, at least 10 cops that's involved in my case that should have been in trouble. The detective told me that they were going to be charged, and I have video footage of all these police officers ignoring me that day. The police officers that came and arrested me 10 minutes after he raped me, they were supposed to be charged, but nothing is happening. They're still working. And even with the Mahogany case, I'm sorry that happened to her, and I feel for her and her family. But these same police officers are being corrupt, and we're corrupt with that whole situation, and we're sleeping with them. It's a lot that Birmingham is not putting out. Like, their whole department is dirty. And then his mother is a police officer. So that's more of the reason why they're trying to cover this up. But I'm not going to give up on getting my justice. So if you live in Birmingham, please be careful and please beware of Birmingham Police Department. And I pray I would never need help from them. So
I really paid $1